Hello guys, this is George Dean from myphotographybusiness.com with today's presentation on the 6 most disturbing trends in photography and the cure for each. Now I'm doing this presentation for people who have either just started their photography business or they've been in their photography business for a while and just feel that their business is not firing on all 6 cylinders. Things really isn't going down the right road. Maybe you're spending too much time shooting, maybe you're spending too much time photoshopping, maybe you're not getting enough clients, maybe you aren't making enough money. Why is that happening? Well, in my private coaching with photographers, they approach me with issues and that has a common theme to it. And as an outsider looking into their business, I see things that they don't see that is a commonality among photographers. So I want to discuss those things and how do you overcome those obstacles. And some of them are just seemingly obstacles and some of them are tactical decisions that you need to make about how you're going to operate your business. Number one is the perceived barrier of entry. Well, there really isn't a barrier of entry. For $5,000, you can get a nice 5D, a nice 85-1.2 lens, Photoshop, and a website. Today, you could buy all of those things, and you're off and running. But that doesn't mean you know anything. But it does give itself the market a glut of new photographers. Now, the good thing about that is more people are going to quote-unquote professional photographers than ever before. They're also getting photographed with more horrible pictures than ever before, which leads me to the belief that if you can be a really good photographer, a really outstanding photographer with good lighting, good posing, good composition, good sales techniques, good follow-up, that there's a huge need for you in our business. So yes, there is a low barrier of entry. It doesn't require hardly any education. It doesn't hardly require any capital investment, but it's super easy to get into. However, this is a deceivingly simple business. And if you're listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a deceivingly simple business. But how do you overcome the fact that it is so easy and lots of photographers, lots of people are becoming photographers? By the way, whenever I meet new people, I don't tell them I'm a photographer. I tell them I own a portrait studio. Because that immediately separates me from the 100 photographers in our area and puts me in a category of only 3 of us that own portrait studios. But how do you overcome that barrier of entry issue with lots of MWACs and DWACs and all of that? Is through education, is elevating the bar, making sure that you're getting training in the art of photography and the business of photography. And that's how I've divided up my training site here on my photography business. You get 2 videos on the art of photography, which is shooting better and photoshopping better, getting it right in the camera. So when you get it into Photoshop, you're in Photoshop in less than a minute per image. And the business of photography has 2 videos. How to get more clients in the door, how to get more referrals, and the other one is how to get more sales. If we can accomplish those things, get it right in the camera, get in and out of Photoshop, have more repeat sessions, have more referrals, and we're making a lot of money per session, you're probably firing on all cylinders. That's the ultimate goal. So don't worry about the barrier of entry as much as elevating the bar and continually to educate yourself on the art of photography and the business of photography. Which leads us to the next question is, who do you select to do the educating? Well, it seems like everyone today is teaching photography, and you've got to be very, very careful. I've attended 3 workshops where one of them actually didn't own a studio, but he gave off the impression with pictures to back it up that he was photographing starlets and had this huge, beautiful studio in San Diego, but none of it was true. Another one hadn't even been in business for 15 years. He was really good on the technical spots, but on the sales side, you could tell that some of this stuff was just kind of ancient, what he was saying. He hadn't kept up with the times. So there's 2 seminars that I wasted my time. And a third one was just this year put on by a large lab company that had a guy talking about how to ignite your sales and marketing. Yet he was handing out a marketing piece with a URL on it that didn't exist, with a phone number that had been disconnected. He hadn't owned a studio in 10 years. I contacted that company, by the way, and let them know that information, and that I think it was very deceitful of them to have this huge seminar in all of these cities, and the guy they were putting out as the guy who could help you get more sales and more clients in the door doesn't even own a studio anymore. That's just crazy to me. So you have to be careful who does your training. How do you combat that, guys? What's the cure for that? Is utilize PPA, utilize the archives of magazines they have. Once you become a member, if you're not a member, make sure you get the back issues. Ask them if you can get the last 5 years of back issues. I promise you there's tons of awesome training in there, tons of wonderful interviews, exposure to lots of photographers who are really good at the art of photography and photographers who are good at the business of photography. Follow up with them and find out when they're doing a workshop. Who do they recommend you attend a workshop through? PPA also has a division called SMS. It's a division that'll go in and look through your books and give you a detailed analysis of how you rank to the other studios in the industry. Well, the people who teach that course has also been through that scrutiny, like Ann Monteith and Julia Woods. These are great people to study under. Ask them who else you should go study under. That will help eliminate the people out there who are just frauds. I mean, just flat out frauds. And you have to be careful with that. Relying on Photoshop tricks. I recently looked at a person's session where if I handed it to you, I debated showing the images on the slideshow, and I decided not to. But if I showed you these images, and I said, how many photographers took those pictures? I guarantee you'd say way more than one, because the look of the images was all over the place. I once had a photographer tell me that she went into one of my clients' homes, and my portraits were up on the wall, and the mom says, "That's a George Dean." And that made such an impact on her. She made sure she tracked me down and told me that that happened. And that's one of her ultimate goals, is for portraits to be hanging in someone's home and someone says, "That's a," whatever her name was. And the only way you can get "That's a George Dean" is because George Dean has a specific look. And if you looked at all the pictures I showed in a session, that theme resonates throughout the session, and it resonates throughout all my sessions. So the thing that I'm really going to encourage you to do is you got to learn to develop your signature style. Don't play with all the actions and stuff in Photoshop. Don't radial blur something and Gaussian blur another thing, and make this one really purple, and make that one really red, and make this one really blue, and make that one black and white, and make that one sepia. To me, you don't know what you're doing. You're just throwing mud against the wall and hoping something sticks. Guys, just because Photoshop can do it doesn't mean you should. I spend an average of 50 seconds an image in Photoshop across all of my sessions. I shoot it right, and I have my signature look, and I roll with it. Natural light only. A lot of the new photographers that come out are all natural light only. So if there's 100 photographers in my area, 97 of them are natural light only. 3 of us have studios. So what is one thing that can separate you? Is learn studio lighting. I want to make sure that I take beautiful natural light photography. I want to make sure I take beautiful off-camera flash photography. I want to make sure I do beautiful, soft, gorgeous studio lighting photography. I want to make sure I do edgy studio lighting photography. By having these different looks, it separates me from my competition. So if you are a natural light only photographer at this point, you need to make sure, in my opinion, this is all George Dean's opinion, you need to get off-camera flash going. You need to get beautiful studio lighting going. You need to get beautiful edgy lighting going if you really want to separate yourself from the pack. Otherwise, you're just one of the natural light photographers. Okay? Next thing is selling your images online or giving away a CD. I think this is a big problem down the road for you. May not be a problem today. Heck, you might be doing 10 sessions a week at $350 and giving them the CD, and man, you're doing $3 grand a week, and that's 12 grand a month. Life is good. Who are you, George Dean, to tell me I shouldn't be doing that? Well, I'm not telling you shouldn't be doing that. I'm just betting that long term that's not going to be a winning model, because I want my clients to be under the care and the guidance of an expert. I want them to be able to come into my studio and I show them how beautiful their images are, why I did what I did, why I'm choosing the arrangement that should go on their wall, and what they should do with the rest of the images, and they're taken care of. Because my gut tells me, and I've talked to people who went to CD photographers, they didn't print anything. And if they did print something, they printed a few for grandma. But they didn't print anything, and eventually one day that CD is not going to read the images. And if they put it on a hard drive, one day that hard drive will crash, and they've lost all of the images and nothing's been printed out because they didn't really value it. They just did it because it was cheap. I want clients to come to me because they value what I do, and I want them to come to me because they want some sort of legacy portrait up on their wall. And so I want them to be under the care and the guidance of an expert. I believe that is going to be very fruitful in repeat sessions, in referrals. Very important. And the sixth most disturbing trend I see, guys, is follow-up failure. And this is true across almost all categories of businesses. They make one sale and they don't follow up with the client. They don't stay in touch with them. You need to stay in touch with your clients so you can invite them back into your studio to do additional work. Okay? You have to follow up. Or do you just think you're so amazing that they're going to come back to you because you're the best thing since sliced bread? You are so good, they're always going to remember your name. They're going to, but number one, if you don't have a studio, they don't have a central location that they know they can go to and get photography done. The number one mistake in all businesses is follow-up failure, besides being undercapitalized, but because this business has very small capital requirements, that's really not an issue. But what is an issue is how much time you spend photographing sessions and photoshopping, but that's another topic. Let's get back to follow-up failure. If you want to build a long-term business, you've got to stay in touch with the clients. Heck, they already like you. They've already spent money with you. They already love you. The hard part's done. For established studios that I do consulting with, we talk about their database. Nothing's more valuable than your database. You know what your number one job in any business is, guys? Is to develop a list of clients who will buy whatever you show them. I don't care whether it's photography or widgets. That's your only goal, is to develop a list of buyers who wants to buy what you're selling. Luckily, we're in a wonderful industry that we sell good feelings. I mean, we're in the best industry in the world, in my opinion. But you got to follow up with them. Okay, guys? And these are the kind of things I pound into your head in myphotographybusiness.com videos that I publish every month. And my current members say it's like getting a mini seminar every month in the comfort of their home. Because we're going to go over how to shoot better. We're going to go over how to Photoshop better. We're going to go over how to get more clients, more repeat sessions. And we're going to go over how to get higher averages from those clients. Okay? But here's the 6 trends. I really think if you focused on your education, focusing on the art of photography and the business of photography, utilized PPA and scrutinized who you gave your investment dollars to, your education dollars to, worked on your signature style so once someone sees it, they say, that's a George Dean. Learn more than one genre of lighting and actually learn it. A lot of natural light photographers don't even know they should be looking for light. They don't even see light. They don't even know what I'm talking about. You got to get that education. I like natural light, off-camera flash, studio, soft studio lighting, hard studio lighting. I want my clients to be under the care and the guidance and the protection of an expert. And that protection goes in perfectly with following up with your clients. By following up with them, I am protecting my herd. I am keeping them in close to me. Okay, so these are the type of things, guys, I teach on myphotographybusiness.com. I hope you become a member. You can cancel anytime, but my goal is for you to become a client for life, just like my portrait clients. So thank you for watching the 6 most disturbing trends in photography and the cure for each. This is George Dean from myphotographybusiness.com.